Good morning. Magandang umaga po. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Yesterday, I posted a video regarding the requirements for Filipinos returning to the Philippines. Today, we're going to talk about foreigners returning to the Philippines. And who are the foreigners? Foreigners include, for this purpose, includes former Filipino citizens who is now a citizen of a foreign country. They are Filipinos, but they're a citizen of a foreign country. That means they're holding a foreign passport. That's a foreigner. Stay with me. That's what we'll talk about. I saw a posting of new requirement for foreigners entering the Philippines, and this is what we are going to talk about. As they say, himayin natin to. Let's go through the details and see what this is all about. Okay, so let's take a look. Entry requirement for foreign nationals, those holding a foreign passport including Balikbayan, from visa-required 9A countries. Now, if you are a Balikbayan, you're traveling with your spouse, you don't need a visa to go, but when you get to the Philippines, they give you a 30-day visa. So, when they say visa-free country, that's really a misnomer because you're still given a 9A visa at that point. Foreign nationals must be fully vaccinated. Foreign nationals must be fully vaccinated, except for minor children under 12 years old. They have an acceptable, provided they have an acceptable proof of vaccination. They have a negative rt-pcr test taken within 48 hours of departure from first point of embarkation in the country of origin. Now let's talk about this. I'm coming from Philadelphia. There's no flight direct to Philippines. I have to lay over in New York, then pick up the flight from New York to the Philippines. The 48 hours we're referring to does not refer to the 48 hours from New York. It's from Philadelphia. That is my point of embarkation to go to the Philippines. I'm not getting out of the airport. That's just a layover at the airport. Somebody said to me, they checked with the travel agent. They said, no, that will be New York. No, it's not. That is not the case. A lot of people do not have direct flights. I think there's a direct flight from PAL from New York to Philippines, but a lot of them stop by Taiwan, stop by California, stop by Honolulu, and all those. All those stops are layover points. It is not the point where you leave the United States. It's the point where you leave your home state, your first embarkation point. I hope that's understood. No facility-based quarantine is required, but monitor for 7 days following the date of arrival. So if you are over 12 years old and you're fully vaccinated and you have an acceptable proof of vaccination, you have a negative rt-pcr test, no quarantine is required, but you should monitor, which is different from quarantine, for 7 days at the date of arrival. They must report to LGU if they manifest any symptoms. Now, if you're not compliant with the above conditions, and I have a comment on this because that's still a question mark for me. If you are not compliant with the above conditions, they will be required to do facility-based quarantine until the result of rt-pcr test on the 5th day. After that, they will be required to home quarantine the remaining days until the 14th day of arrival. Because they're not vaccinated, 14 days. And also quarantine, not monitor. The question I have is, it says, if not compliant with the conditions above, supposing I am not vaccinated, and I say, oh yeah, I am vaccinated, but I don't have the proof of vaccination, so you're not compliant, does it mean you will still be accepted? I don't know. That is a question, okay? But if I were you, I will not play games. If you are vaccinated, get your proof of vaccination, and let's stop arguing about, well, gee, what if I was vaccinated but I don't have a proof of vaccination? Let's not do that, okay? So just follow that. And then the other thing is they say LGU will be required to monitor their home quarantine. These last three bullets here, if not compliant with the above condition, I don't know the purpose of this, because if you need to be vaccinated, you have to have proof. You have to have proof. Is that saying, oh, gee, I can say I'm fully vaccinated, but I have no proof, then you'll be allowed to stay as long as you quarantine for 14 days? That's a question. That's an issue. But to resolve the question, just ignore that, okay? You are required to be vaccinated. Now, foreign nationals, those holding a foreign passport, let's talk about this. Even if you're a former Filipino, but you're now a U.S. citizen or a citizen of a foreign country, and you're holding a foreign passport, you are now a foreign national. Okay? With a valid existing visas other than 9A visa may be allowed. Those 9A visa holders. For example, student visa and seafarers or whatever. If they are fully vaccinated, again, they will need to be fully vaccinated. Able to present proof of vaccination, just like before. No facility-based quarantine required, but should monitor for 7 days following date of arrival, just like before. They must report to the LGU if they manifest any symptoms, just like before. Now, this is a separate line, and they said, foreign national who shall not be fully vaccinated shall be denied admission. That is the reason why I say, even if you are a Balikbayan or part of a Balikbayan family, but you're holding a foreign passport, not a Philippine passport, you will be required to be fully vaccinated. The ones who are allowed to come in without full vaccination are those with Philippine passport. This includes, by the way, when we say foreign nationals, this include the Balikbayan, okay? Balikbayan, you're no longer a Filipino citizen because you're now holding a foreign passport. You will need to be vaccinated. At least that's my interpretation. It's very clear. Now, foreign nationals who's holding a foreign passport, including Balikbayan, by the way, the ones I highlighted in blue are my statement, okay? They just say foreign nationals are required to travel. So I'm saying holding a foreign passport, including Balikbayan, to make it clear, are required to have travel insurance of at least 35,000 that includes coverage for COVID-19 while overseas. Now, let's talk about this. So, Philippine nationals are not required. Why? When they get there and they get sick, they got afflicted with COVID, well, Philippine government, I assume, will take care of them. But I think this requirement is so that the Philippines will not be required to support those people who got sick because they were visiting the country. And they included the Balikbayan in here. Now, some people will say, gee, but I already have a travel insurance. Gee, my credit card has a travel insurance coverage and such. Whether you buy or you already have an existing travel insurance, verify the coverage. Make sure, because some travel insurance may not even include medical insurance. So make sure it includes medical insurance, specifically including COVID in a foreign countries, overseas. So verify that. Verify your credit card, verify AAA, verify Costco, verify any existing insurance you have. For example, I have Humana, and I know I have coverage, but I'm going to verify to be sure that it covers COVID while I'm overseas. And as much as possible, get something in writing from them that you are covered so you can present this, that you do have coverage. Okay? And the minimum is $35,000. That's a new requirement. Now, about One Health Pass, everybody, all travelers are required to register for One Health Pass, regardless of age. Even if you're a baby, you need to register them. And country of citizenship, whether you're Filipino or not, or whether you're a foreigner or not, you are required. Everybody traveling or entering the Philippines will need to register, including minors or babies. Some additional chart I will share with you is that these are the list of countries who can enter the Philippines without a visa. United States is here, Canada is here, 157, that's a lot of countries. These are people who can enter the Philippines without a visa or visa upon arrival in the Philippines. Now, these are the countries that will accept their local certificate of vaccination. For example, in the case of the United States, it's the CCD card that was given to you when you were vaccinated. That will be accepted because you're part of this list of countries with reciprocal agreement with the Philippines to accept their VaxCert-PH certification. And United States is here, Canada is here, Australia is here. Just take a look at the list. This is the list of those countries where those certifications are going to be accepted. So that's the best information I have so far. I'm pretty sure some more interpretation will come in the future, and I'll be more than happy to update you when that comes. But these are new requirements. I wish they will remove the $35,000 requirement for Balikbayan because it's a shame. Most people here in the U.S. Do have coverage, but they're not necessarily covered overseas. Okay, very few are covered overseas. For at least 90 days, they will be covered. So if your insurance cover you, for example, if you have supplemental insurance, ask them to make sure that you are covered for COVID-19 in case you get infected. Is that considered an emergency? Because they will only cover you for emergency cases and also for the first 60 or 90 days while you're away from home, which most people visiting the Philippines will not be staying more than 60 or 90 days. For retired people who can stay there 1 year, it may be a problem, even if you have supplemental insurance with COVID coverage. So just verify those. That's the best information I have right now. If you have any questions, comments, I'll appreciate it for people who already went to the Philippines or by this time who would have gone to the Philippines, because this is supposed to be effective February 10th. I will appreciate it if you can comment below and share with us what your experience is, okay? Because a lot of these questions will be coming up now and then, including, for example, that point of origin, when you say when you depart from point of embarkation, would that be, for example, if it's from Philadelphia to San Francisco or LA, then from LA to the Philippines, will that 48-hour rt-pcr test start from San Francisco or LA to the Philippines? Or will it start from Philadelphia? My interpretation is it starts from Philadelphia. Because come on, it's got to be impossible for you to be flying and then while there, go for the PCR test. It takes more than 48 hours sometimes, unless you pay a whole lot of money. Or you may be required to get out of the airport. To me, that is not possible. So, or at least not practical. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll appreciate it if you share this with some of your friends or relatives who might be thinking of going home, and make it a great day. Please do subscribe to my channel unless you have already done so. God bless.